the dawn of a new age, a transformation from the shadows of the past. The early modern era began, shattering the boundaries of the known world forever. From 1450 to 1500, new tools of war and exploration reshaped human history. But what defined this era, and who truly held the power as the world connected? The fall of Constantinople in 1453 marked a major break from the European Middle Ages. The spread of printing accelerated ideas, changing how knowledge was shared across nations. European voyages of discovery opened up new routes to America and along the African coast. Warfare evolved with gunpowder. Military forces grew, becoming larger and far more organized. Proto-globalization began, driven by increasingly centralized states and early forms of capitalism. Capitalist economies first emerged in northern Italian republics and key Asian port cities. European states practiced mercantilism, enforcing trade policies favoring the mother country. Starting in the late 15th century, the Portuguese established vast trading posts for gold and spices. They also practiced slavery, a dark aspect of their early global expansion and trade. By the 17th century, private chartered companies, like the English East India Company, were established. In the European sphere, serfdom declined and eventually disappeared, freeing the labor force. Simultaneously, the immense power and influence of the Catholic Church significantly waned. The Age of Discovery began, initiating a massive exchange between the Old World and the New World. It began in the late 15th century when Castile sent Christopher Columbus to the Americas in 1492. The Columbian Exchange moved plants, animals, foods, and human populations globally. New crops from the Americas contributed substantially to an unprecedented world population growth. The Ottoman Empire quickly came to dominate the Middle East after conquering Constantinople. Persia came under the rule of the Safavids in 1501, establishing Shia Islam as the official religion. Along with the Mughals, the Ottomans and Safavids were known as the powerful gunpowder empires. Throughout the 16th century, the Ottomans conquered all of North Africa, save for Morocco. Morocco came under the Safavid dynasty, followed by the powerful Alawi dynasty in the 17th century. At the end of the 18th century, the Russian Empire began its large-scale conquest of the Caucasus. In Central Asia, the Uzbeks replaced the once dominant Timurids as the preeminent power. The region faced constant shifts in power, defining a complex geopolitical landscape. This era saw the region solidify unique identities amidst imperial rivalries and change. The early modern period in Europe was an era of intense intellectual ferment and cultural rebirth. The Renaissance rediscovered classical achievements, fueling Europe's economic and social rise. The Reformation, a movement started by Martin Luther, created the foundation of Protestant Christianity. The Renaissance led to the scientific revolution, encouraging direct observation and experiment. The success of science inspired the Enlightenment, applying new techniques to social and political affairs.
But surely,
Johannes Gutenberg's movable type printing invention in 1440 helped ideas spread rapidly. Early modern Europeans experienced an immense increase in the power of the centralized state. In Russia, Ivan the Terrible was crowned in 1547 as the first Tsar, transforming Russia into a regional power. Western European countries competed economically and militarily in a state of almost constant war. Notable conflicts included the devastating 30 Years' War and the War of the Spanish Succession. 7 Years' War and the French Revolutionary Wars reshaped the continent. The French Revolution, starting in 1789, overthrew monarchy, laying groundwork for liberal democracy. It led to the powerful rise of Napoleon Bonaparte and the subsequent Napoleonic Wars. The technological and colonial advances prodigiously expanded European influence worldwide. Strong armies and efficient bureaucracies controlled by the king secured the power of absolute monarchs. The seeds of revolutionary change were sown, forever altering political thought and state power. In the Horn of Africa, the Oromo expansion in the 16th century weakened Ethiopia and Ottoman. The powerful Ajuran was eventually succeeded by the regionally dominant Geledi Sultanate. In West Africa, the great Songhai Empire fell to a Moroccan invasion in the late 16th century. The Fula Jihads, starting in the 18th century, led to the founding of the Sokoto Caliphate and other empires. In the forest regions, the powerful and wealthy Hassani Empire was established in present-day Ghana. Between 1515 and 1800, approximately 8 million Africans were tragically exported in the Atlantic slave trade. In the Congo Basin, Congo fought 3 wars against the Portuguese colonizing nearby Angola. Further east, the Lunda Empire rose to dominate the region, before falling to the Chakwi. Kilwa was conquered by the Portuguese, who were later defeated by the Omani Empire, taking the Swahili coast. In Madagascar, the 16th century saw the emergence of Imarina, which conquered most of the island. Further south, the Dutch began colonizing South Africa, who eventually lost it to the powerful British. The region faced displacement and the formation of various new African kingdoms after the defeat came. In the Indian subcontinent, the Mughal Empire was established under Babur in 1526. Starting in the northwest, it brought the entire subcontinent under Muslim rule by the late 17th century. To resist Muslim rulers, the Hindu Maratha Empire was founded by Shivaji on the western coast in 1674. The Marathas gradually gained territory from the Mughals, especially during the Mughal-Maratha Wars. Sikhism developed at the end of the 15th century based on the spiritual teachings of 10 gurus.
The greatest virtues.
In 1799, Ranjit Singh established the powerful and expansive Sikh Empire in the region of Punjab. European influence began to creep in, setting the stage for centuries of imperial dominance. The subcontinent remained a highly valuable hub for global trade and rich resources. South Asia was a melting pot of cultures and religions, united and divided by vast empires. In 1644, the Ming were supplanted by the Qing, the last imperial dynasty of China, ruling until 1912. Japan experienced the Azuchi Momoyama period, followed by the long, stable Edo period until 1868. The Korean Joseon dynasty ruled throughout, repelling invasions from both Japan and China. Expanded maritime trade with Europe significantly affected China and Japan via Macau and Nagasaki. However, China and Japan later pursued isolationist policies to eliminate foreign influences. Both powerful nations sought to maintain internal stability and their unique cultural identity. This era was marked by cultural flourishing despite the challenges of changing regimes and foreign contact. Great cities thrived, reflecting the power and complexity of these ancient empires. Northeast Asia navigated profound changes, securing its own paths toward a modern age. In 1511, the Portuguese overthrew the Malacca Sultanate in present-day Malaysia and Sumatra. The Portuguese held this important trading strait until overthrown by the powerful Dutch in 1641. The Johor Sultanate became the dominant trading power, centering on the Malay Peninsula's southern tip. European colonization expanded with the Dutch in Indonesia, the Portuguese in Timor, and the Spaniards in the Philippines. This vital region, rich in resources and strategic waterways, fell increasingly under foreign control. The struggle for control over trade and territory defined the future of Southeast Asia. The Pacific islands of Oceania were affected by European contact, beginning with Magellan's voyage. Abel Tasman sailed to present-day Australia, New Zealand, and other nearby islands between 1642 and 1644. James Cook made the first recorded European contact with Hawaii, mapping the vast ocean. In 1788, Great Britain founded its first Australian colony, claiming a massive new territory. The ancient island cultures faced the inevitable clash with the rapidly expanding European powers. The Age of Discovery brought the vast, isolated Pacific into the growing global network. Several European powers colonized the Americas, fundamentally displacing the native populations. Advanced civilizations like the Aztecs and Inca were quickly conquered by the superior European military. Diseases introduced by Europeans devastated American societies, killing millions by 1600. The population was tragically reduced by up to 95%, one of history's great demographic catastrophes. In some regions, colonial policies included the deliberate and brutal genocide of indigenous peoples. Spain, Portugal, Britain, and France all undertook extensive territorial claims and settlements. This included the mass importation of large numbers of African slaves to work the colonies. The slave trade resulted in cultural exchange, bringing African traditions, cuisine, music, and dance to the Americas. Portugal claimed Brazil, while Spain seized the rest of South America, Mesoamerica, and southern North America. The Spaniards mined and exported prodigious amounts of gold and silver from their colonies. This massive influx of wealth led to a surge in inflation known as the Price Revolution in Western Europe. In North America, Britain colonized the East Coast while France settled the central region. Even Russia made brief but notable incursions into the northwest coast of North America. France lost most of its North American territory to England and Spain after the pivotal 7 Years' War, 1756 to 1763.
It is done.
Britain's 13 colonies declared independence as the United States in 1776. This was ratified by the Treaty of Paris in 1783, officially ending the American Revolutionary War. In 1791, African slaves launched a successful, monumental rebellion in the French colony of Saint-Domingue. France sold its continental claims to the United States in the Louisiana Purchase of 1803. The era closed with the vast American continents poised for further struggles for independence. The early modern period fundamentally redefined human existence on every single continent. It was a time of unprecedented global integration, cultural exchange, and imperial competition. The forces of capitalism, colonialism, and revolution were set in motion, irreversible and rapid. The Great Divergence saw Europe's power rise, but at a massive human and ecological cost. The world entered a new phase, leaving behind the old ways forever. The legacies of this powerful era still shape our nations and our global economy today. A pivotal moment in history, setting the stage for the industrial and modern world. The journey through the early modern world is a lesson in power, progress, and profound human cost. Watch next episode, Modern Period.